The night Boko Haram came to her street in Yola, Amina did not have time to take her Bible. She took her 2 daughters, aged 4 and 7, one under each arm, and she ran. She ran barefoot through 3 streets, through a neighbour's broken fence, through a dried riverbed, through darkness she had never moved through alone. She ran until she could not hear the burning anymore. She had nothing. No money, no husband, no home to return to. Just 2 children and a God she had decided, in that running, she was not letting go of. This is the story of Amina Garba, from Yola, Adamawa State, Nigeria. And what happened in the 10 years after that night will make you question everything you think you know about how far faith can carry a person. Stay with this story, because it does not get easier before it gets extraordinary, and it earns every single moment of what is coming. Before I tell you what happened to Amina, I need to say something to you directly. Many of us who grew up in the church were handed a version of faith that was built for comfortable lives. A faith that works in a stable home, with food on the table, and a job to go back to on Monday morning. A faith that says, if you pray enough, if you give enough, if you believe hard enough, nothing too terrible will happen to you. But what do you do with your faith when the terrible thing happens anyway? In Adamawa State in 2014 and 2015, over 500,000 people were displaced by Boko Haram violence. 500,000. Cities emptied, villages burned, churches razed to the ground, pastors executed on their own altars. And in the middle of all of it, in the IDP camps of Yola, in the dried riverbeds outside Mubi, in the evacuation centres of Jamita, there were women just like Amina. Christian women, Muslim women, mothers, grandmothers, girls, carrying nothing but their children and whatever their faith was made of. This story is not about whether God stopped the attack. He did not stop it. This story is about what God did inside a woman who survived it, and what he built through her in the 10 years that followed. Amina Garba grew up in a Christian home in Jamita, the urban heart of Yola. Her father was a school teacher. Her mother sold groundnut oil at the Monday market. They were not wealthy, but they had the particular enough of a family held together by structure, faith, and the daily discipline of showing up. Amina became a primary school teacher. She married at 26, had 2 daughters, Blessing, then Grace. They rented 2 rooms in a compound near the church her family had attended since before she was born. Every Sunday morning, every Wednesday evening, every special prayer night, the Garba family was there. Her husband, Daniel, worked a logistics route between Yola and Abuja. 4 days a week on the road. Hard work, but it was theirs. By 2014, what had been distant news had become local reality. Boko Haram was no longer a headline. It was the conversation at the school gate, the reason the market closed early, the fear you carried home from church and did not say out loud in front of the children. Daniel was killed on the Yola-Numan road in August of that year, a truck ambush. He was 31 years old. Blessing was 7. Grace was 4. And Amina, 29, widowed, alone in 2 rented rooms with 2 daughters, had 3 months to process her grief before the night the attack came to her street. She had been praying for protection every morning since Daniel died, every single morning, and the night still came. This is the part of Amina's story she says she needs people to hear without flinching, because she did not flinch from it. She does not want you to either. God did not stop the attack. Her prayers did not build a wall around her compound. The street still burned. She still ran barefoot in the dark with her children. And she says she has never once believed that means God was not there. The IDP camp at Malkohi, on the outskirts of Yola, became home for 63,000 displaced people at its peak. 63,000, in a place built for far fewer. Tarpaulin shelters, shared water points, a single medical tent, food distributions that did not always come. Amina arrived at Malkohi with blessing and grace on a Wednesday night. She had nothing on her feet. She had nothing in her hands. She knew 3 other women in the camp from her church. 2 of them had lost children in the attack. 1 of them had lost her mind. She was given a tarpaulin, 2 plastic plates, and a position in Section D. For the first 3 weeks, Amina did not pray. Not because she had lost her faith. She will tell you plainly she had not. But because she was so far inside the shock of what had happened that she could not form words. She sat outside the tarpaulin shelter each morning and looked at the sky and simply could not speak. Grace, her 4-year-old, would climb into her lap each morning and hold her mother's face in both small hands and wait, just wait, until Amina came back from wherever she had gone. It was her 4-year-old daughter who kept her tethered to the living. Not sermons, not scripture, just a child's hands on her face every morning, saying, "Mama, I am still here." The camp pastor, a young man from Mubi who had lost his church building and 4 of his elders, held morning prayers under a neem tree at 6 a.m. Amina did not go for the first 3 weeks. Then one morning, Grace took her hand and pulled her toward the tree without asking. Amina sat at the back. She did not open her mouth, but she listened. And the pastor said something that morning that she says she has never forgotten. God did not promise us that the fire would not come. He promised us that when we walk through it, we will not walk through it alone. Amina says that was the morning she stopped being silent with God. Not because the pain was gone. It was not gone. It has never fully left. But because she decided, sitting on the red earth under a neem tree in a displacement camp with 63,000 people around her, that she was not going to face what was coming alone. In the 2nd month at Malkohi camp, Amina noticed something. The children in Section D had nothing to do. No school, no structure, no routine. They were running between shelters, getting into fights, waking up screaming at night, untethered from the normal patterns of childhood that give children a sense that the world still has a shape. Amina was a primary school teacher. She had no classroom, no textbooks, no chalk. She had a piece of tarpaulin and a lump of charcoal pulled from a cooking fire. She started school on a Thursday morning with 11 children sitting in the dirt, and a piece of tarpaulin on the ground as a writing surface. By the end of the first week, 34 children. By the end of the first month, 71. Parents came to her one evening from Section D and Section E and Section B. Parents from different states, different tribes, some Christian, some Muslim. They came because their children were sleeping better, fighting less, waking without screaming, because something about having a place to go in the morning had given them back a shape to exist inside. One of the mothers, a woman named Hawa from Mubi, pressed something into Amina's hand, a folded piece of paper. Amina opened it. It was a drawing, done by Hawa's 6-year-old son. A building with children inside it, and a woman at the front of the room, standing at a board, teaching. Underneath the drawing, in the careful letters of a child learning to write, were 3 words. My school, Yola. Amina sat with that drawing for a long time. Then she opened the small notebook she had been given by a relief worker, the only personal possession she had in the camp besides her daughters, and wrote something on the first page. I am going to build a school in Yola, on the ground where things burned, and it will be there when the children come home. She had no money, no land, no organisation behind her, no connections. She was a widowed IDP teacher in a tarpaulin shelter in a camp of 63,000 people. She wrote it down anyway. Then she prayed over it. Not a desperate prayer, a decided one.
Amina spent 3 years at Malkohi camp. In that time, she buried 2 people she knew from her church. She nursed Grace through a bout of typhoid that nearly took her. She watched Blessing, her eldest, grow from a 7-year-old who still asked when they were going home into a 10-year-old who had stopped asking. She taught every day. She prayed every morning. She wrote in her notebook every week, a record of every small thing she believed God was doing that nobody else would have called a miracle. A new book donated, a maths teacher arriving and volunteering, an NGO worker who saw the tarpaulin school and wrote something in his own notebook. She was not waiting to be rescued. She was building inside the waiting.
Faith for Amina was not a feeling, it was a practice. Like teaching, you showed up whether or not you felt ready, and the showing up was the faith. In her 2nd year, the camp school had a tin roof. Not a building, but a roof over the children's heads. Donated by a church in Abuja who had heard about a widow teacher in Section D. In her 3rd year, she was asked to speak to a group of international aid workers visiting the camp. She stood up in front of 15 foreigners with laptops and lanyards and said simply, I am building a school in Yola. Not here, there, on the ground where things burned. I do not have the money yet. I do not have the land yet. But I have the plans, and I have the children, and I have a God who told me to write it down. If any of you want to be part of it, here is my notebook. 3 of those 15 people came to find her after the meeting. Amina returned to Yola in 2017 with her daughters, a small registered NGO, seed funding from 2 of the aid workers she had met in the camp, and her notebook. The plot of land she had written about, close to where her compound had burned, was derelict,
owned by a displaced family with no plans to return. It took 4 months of conversations, 2 church elders as intermediaries, and 1 meeting where Amina placed her 3-year-old notebook open on the table and let the landowner read it himself. He leased it to her for a nominal amount, 10 years, renewable. Construction began in 2018. Amina taught classes on the building site while the walls were going up. Blessing, now 11, helped mix cement on Saturdays. Grace painted the first classroom wall herself. Blue, her favourite colour.
The school opened in January 2019. 230 children enrolled in the first term. Over half of them had been displaced. 41 had been in Amina's tarpaulin school at Malkohi camp. Today, the school has 4 classrooms, a library, and a feeding programme serving 300 children daily. Hawa, the woman from Mubi whose son drew the picture, is the school's administrator. Her son, now 12, is one of its top students. Amina still has the drawing. It is framed. It hangs on the wall of the first classroom, the one Grace painted blue. She told me last year that people often ask what kept her going during the 3 years at Malkohi. In the dark mornings, in the nights Grace cried from typhoid, in the moments the drawing in the notebook felt like the most foolish thing a widowed, displaced, barefoot woman had ever written down. She says her answer is always the same. I did not keep faith. Faith kept me. My only job was to not
Put down what I was carrying, and some days I nearly did. But the children came every morning, and God was there every morning before the children, so I kept showing up. 3 things from Amina's story that have nothing to do with your specific circumstances and everything to do with what your faith is actually made of. 1. Authentic faith is not protected from suffering, it is sustained through it. Amina prayed every morning before the attack came. The attack still came. Her prayers did not build a wall around her compound, and she refuses to construct a theology that explains that away neatly. What she will tell you is this: the same faith that did not stop the fire carried her out of it. The same God who did not remove the suffering did not leave her inside it alone. Those are 2 different things. The difference between them is the difference between a faith that collapses under pressure and a faith that holds. Stop asking God only to remove your fire. Start asking Him to be present in it. That is the prayer Amina learned, and it changed everything. 2. Purpose is not cancelled by displacement. It is sometimes clarified by it. Amina did not know she was going to build a school when she was a comfortable teacher in Jameta. She found that purpose on the ground of a displacement camp with charcoal and 11 children in the dirt. Sometimes God cannot show us what we are truly built for until everything we were comfortable with is removed. Not because He is cruel, but because comfort is one of the most effective silencers of calling that exists. What has been stripped away from you that might actually be revealing what you were always meant to do? 3. Write it down before you can see it. That is what faith looks like in practice. Amina wrote the school into existence in a notebook before she had a single brick, before the land, before the money, before any reasonable grounds for believing it was possible. She wrote it because she had decided to believe,
not because believing felt easy or logical or safe. That notebook was not a vision board. It was an act of war against every voice telling her that what she had survived had also ended what she was still capable of. What have you stopped believing is possible because of what you have been through? Write it down again. Date it. The story is not finished.
Before you leave this video, 3 things. First, leave her name in the comments. Write the name of one woman you know, in your family, your church, your community, who carried her faith and her children through something that should have broken her and did not. Write her name here. Let this comment section become what it deserves to be, a record of African women whose faith moved things that circumstances could not. Second, subscribe if this story found you. If you watched Amina and felt something shift, if her story named something in your own life you have not had words for, this channel was built for you. Every week, we tell African stories where faith changes everything. Not comfortable faith, not performance faith, the kind that runs barefoot through the dark and keeps moving. Subscribe. Bring someone who needs to hear this. Third, stay for one more story right now. Next week, we are telling the story of a man in Lagos who lost his business, his marriage, and his house in the same week at 43 years old, and what God built in the 5 years that followed. If Amina's story moved you, that one will finish the work. Stay. The drawing on the classroom wall in Yola shows a building with children inside it and a woman at the front of the room. It was drawn by a 6-year-old boy in a displacement camp with a pencil stub on a torn piece of paper. And it is exactly what you see when you walk into that school today. She carried nothing but her children and her God. It was enough.